So let me go ahead and look a little bit at this will prompt a few questions from you guys, because right now you've all kind of got this look like, whoa, that was a lot to take in. So let's make it practical, okay? Instead of quoting math rules, let's do a math problem and see how that helps. So if you look at your handout called Answers and Follow-Up, and I'm not going to read every part of this. I'm just going to kind of give you the cliff notes. So if you look at number 1, the Gospel of Mark, if you look at the 3 related passages in the Synoptics on the death of John the Baptist, what details do you notice about this story in Mark that are left out in Matthew and Luke explain? So first of all, if you had them all lined up next to each other, what you would notice is that Mark's version of the death of John the Baptist is many times larger than that of Matthew, let alone Luke. Second, Mark mentions that Herodias, because here's how the story works. John the Baptist told Herod that it was wrong for him to be married to Herodias, who was his brother Philip's wife. And so John the Baptist gets put in prison, and we know that Herodias' daughter dances for Herod in this feast setting, and it was a way to brag back then. You could have anything I have, up to half the kingdom. Basically, that's a way of saying, I'm so impressed with you, I'm going to give up everything but my ability to rule. And so she goes to her mom, what should I ask for? And Herodias is like, I want John the Baptist's head. So those are the key parts of the story. But Mark adds some detail we don't see in the others. So he mentions, first of all, that Herodias had a grudge against John. So it wasn't Herod that had the main beef with him. Second, next, Mark mentions that Herod had mixed feelings about John. It was fear and it was curiosity that left him hesitating. It said that he would go and he would listen to what John the Baptist had to say. And it puzzled and it troubled him. So he wouldn't act on it. He would neither convert and become one of John's disciples, and he wouldn't on his own have him killed. So he was kind of in the middle. And so he gets pushed over by being put in this situation where he would have lost face, possibly his life, if he hadn't got along with how she set things up. Now, Matthew, in the same story, points out that from a public perspective, Herod understood the need to kill John in order to save face. And this makes sense from Matthew because he's writing to Jews that would see Herod as an occupying enemy. Luke only mentions the death of John the Baptist to underscore that Herod was curious about Jesus and why. Now, this is consistent for Luke, who wrote to Gentiles as outsiders who are curious about God's work among the Jews through Jesus. So can you begin to see the stuff that I was telling you in the handout work itself out in the story? The follow-up assignment on Jesus being rejected in his hometown, I went ahead and put the texts next to each other. The handout called Jesus Rejected in His Hometown. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 of us, so we can break into groups of 3 and 4. That's most of the lecture. I want to give us a chance to interact with the material. And let's see where it goes from here. I'm sure there's a lot of questions.